Well, this piece started about almost 3 years ago. I was working at the time with a Russian pianist called Ksenia Kogan, and we developed the piece, which is Schnitge's Third Concerto for Piano and Orchestra, and an adaptation I did of a part of a novel by Ernesto Sabato, the Argentinian writer. The novel as a whole is called On Heroes and Tombs, and the part of it we do is called the Report on the Blind. And we opened with Sergei as conductor in Seoul, South Korea, 3 years ago in January. So that's the piece.
Wait until the translation.
Do the interpretation with pauses.
Pardon me?
Please do interpretation for the journalists with people who pause, please.
Yes, sure.
Unek, Unek. We need to just the microphones. If you will please pause, I will interpret for them.
Sure.
Can you do it again?
Sure. This piece was first performed about 3 years ago in Seoul, South Korea, with the Korean Chamber Orchestra and with Sergei conducting. And it was originally developed with a Russian pianist called Ksenia Kogan. And it's based on Schnitge's Third Concerto for Piano and Orchestra. And for the text, I adapted a part of a novel by the Argentinian writer Ernesto Sabato. And the novel is called On Heroes and Tombs. And the particular part of the novel is called Report on the Blind.
On the blind.
Blind. And then most recently we've done a few tours in Europe, including 2 nights ago in Zagreb. And then Sergei and our pianist, who is also Russian pianist, Anastasia Terenkova, and myself toured in Argentina in October as well. I've done several pieces with classical musicians. I think this is my 8th, I guess, and it's a fantastic experience. I love it. Music on its own has a kind of universal power, I think. Especially live music and classical music. So I've done 3 pieces with a Baroque orchestra in Vienna, and conductor and a writer and director in Vienna. Also a piece with Philip Glass, the American composer, also a piece with Alberto Iglesias. This And I just finished a few nights ago a piece with Alexei Igudisman, a Russian violinist and composer.
Igudisman.
Called The Music Critic.
The critics.
So I've always enjoyed performing with musicians.
Who are your favorite writers and composers?
My favorite writers, I like Faulkner a lot. I like Roberto Bolaño, the Chilean writer. Many. I like Don DeLillo, the American author. So many I like.
And what about composers?
All the usual suspects, I think. I like Mozart, I like Schumann, I like all kinds of people there as well.
Thank you.
The actors.
The meaning of this
The meaning of this show.
Well, I sort of mistrust meanings. Any meaning is not what an artist says it is. It's how you perceive it, what you think of it. What we were looking for in this piece was a marriage between text and music. And the music, which I think is a terrific composition, has really paranoid elements. As does Sabato's text. And I suppose the basic point of Sabato's text, at least in this particular chapter, I'm not speaking of the whole book, which is a different thing. But the character in this piece, Fernando Vidal Olmos, believes that the blind rule the world. Which this character believes literally, but maybe Mr. Sabato perhaps believed it figuratively.
Actually, I have two types of questions. First of all, I want to ask about Armenians. Have you ever read any book about Armenians? Please mention the author. And the second question about, do you have any Armenian close friends?
I have some Armenian friends, Sergei being one of them, but also an Armenian friend in the States who's a movie producer, Mark Faradian. And I don't know that I ever read a book about Armenia proper, like a history of the Armenian people or anything, but I've certainly read things where Armenian history figured greatly in the story. I was talking last night about a book called Paradise Lost, which was about Smyrna, which I read a number of years ago. So.
Have you ever heard about Armenian genocide?
Yes.
And what can you say about it? A few words.
What can you say about genocide?
Yes.
It's just kind of unimaginable what people do, I think. That's in a way what Paradise Lost is about. Can't really say much except people do terrible things.
Mr. Malkovich, when you got the invitation to visit Armenia, what was the process you went through? Was it an easy decision, an agreement straight away? Did you take it right away? And what did you study before coming to Armenia? What did you look into before coming to Armenia?
Well, Sergei and I had talked about it already a couple of years ago, I think, and then we were on tour here and there, and but this finally came about. I think it was decided maybe in the spring or so. I mean, not so recently, but I didn't do any particular study to come. Mostly I was busy all summer working as usual. So and I'm looking forward to being here and finding what I find and learning what I learn, as always. What do I think about
That's the
that?
film industry of Armenia. What do you know about it? And
Nothing.
favorite
I
actor?
don't know anything.
What about Armenian composers? Have you ever heard of them?
I have heard some, but I don't know because Sergei sent me some. But I don't know anything about it. So.
Հարցին շարունակություն որպես Արամ Խաչատրյանի փառատոնի մասնակցությանը մենք ողջունում ենք, շատ ուրախ ենք, որ բացման ենք ներկայ եւ ցանկանային հետագայում, եթե մինչեւ այսօր Արամ Խաչատրյանի ստեղծագործությունների ծանոթ չէ, հետագայում Սմբատյանի միջոցով ինքը ավելի ճանաչի, որովհետեւ մեր ամենաճանաչված հանճարեղ կոմպոզիտորն է Արամ
The
Խաչատրյանը։
festival is dedicated to Aram Khachaturian, who is the best renowned of the Armenian composers, the Armenian composing genius. We would just ask you as a follow-up on the question to please listen more of his work to Sergei in the future. Thank you. And thank you for being here for the opening of the festival.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Questions?
Հաց կարող եմ։ Այսօր մեկ այլ Ջոն Լենոնի ծննդյան օրն է։ Իր կարծիքով ո՞րն է լավ երաժշտության, լավ ֆիլմի, հարաբերության իրավականը, արվեստի լավ վերջ։
The birthday of another John today, John Lennon. It's his birthday today. What do you think is the key to longevity of good art, of good music, good pieces?
Well, I think the things that last reach people on a profound level, really. And the great pieces, I think you can return to again and again, and the less great pieces, not so much.
Ունենք հարցեր։ Այո, իհարկե։
Չի դիսկում նորից բարձր էլի։ Առաջին հարցը շրջապատենք։ The first question is, how do you choose the literary pieces? Is there a way about you go about by choosing literary pieces? And secondly, what is interest around the world for this type of blending, for this type of mixture?
Well, that's a very good question. Both are good questions. I think when I listen to a piece, I have to listen to it many, many times before I can say, okay, with that piece of music, I think I would try to pair this text. And it's always an interesting process because text can't really compete with music. Text kind of has to slide between music and complement music. And it's always a challenge and a difficult task to pair text with music. And yes, I think there is an interest in it, in the music world and in the world of theater as well. But I also sometimes have had the feeling, because I've done a number of these hybrid pieces, that maybe music fans say, why are these people talking? And theater fans say, why are these people singing? You know. But I think in a piece like this, what you aim for is to make the two forms complete each other. I think the text in this piece informs the music and completes certain aspects of the music, maybe.
Mr. Malkovich, in 100 years from now, your film will be released in 2115, and it's quite extraordinary that a film that's been shot today, released in 100 years. Could you please?
It's only 98 years.
Can you please tell us a bit about the film, about that project? It's quite extraordinary.
It was part of a campaign for a product of the French company Rémy Martin and a cognac they make called Louis XIII, which takes 100 years to make. So they approached myself and Robert Rodriguez about doing a film that would be seen in 100 years as their product is released in 100 years, and it's a short film that Robert and I wrote, and that's kind of all I can say about it, really.
Follow-up question on one of the earlier questions. What is the music of your life, in a metaphorical sense almost, the music that is always with you, that goes with you?
I wouldn't have just one, I think. I listen to so many different kinds of music, and of course that changes over the years of my life, and I wouldn't be able to say just one music.
What about in a metaphorical sense, in a figurative sense?
Again, I think it depends on my mood, really.
Walking away from culture a bit, what does Jon Malkovich dream of and dream about? And what's the secret to you always staying in great shape?
What do I dream about? Do you mean when I'm sleeping? In general. I dream about all the work I have to do that I haven't done. Really depends. Normally, I'm someone who looks forward and thinks about what I'd maybe like to do in the future. So. For instance, the other night I did a different music piece in Ghent, in Belgium, in the Flemish part of Belgium. And I think it's a good piece, and I think it went well, but I already started to think during it what we can change to make it better. And then I have other pieces I'm planning on various things, so I'm doing the reading for that, and I have some design work both in fashion and in architecture that I have to do in the days to come.
Thank you. Ձեր հարցը խնդրեմ։
Իմ հարցը դժվար է։ Ես գիտեմ, որ Դուբայի վրա եմ եղել ժամանակին, երբ դասավեր
Դուբա հենց։
Եվ հետաքրքիր կլիներ հիմա արդյոք նվազում է, զբաղվում է, ինչու շարունակել։
I know that in your young years you played the tuba, and are you still playing, or what stopped you from playing? Did you stop playing? Why the tuba?
Lack of talent stopped me from playing. Yeah, I did play in and guitar I played as well, but I just don't play anymore. A tuba's pretty hard to carry around. I just don't play anymore, and I'm so lucky to get to work with great musicians who've trained their whole lives that nobody needs to hear my playing of any instrument, I'd say. He'd like.
It's no secret that you started in the theater. Could one say that you're doing this project to keep promoting the theater with you, taking it with you?
Well, I've always worked in theater, and there's something I'll always prefer about live performances. And I still work in theater a great deal, although now although I always directed at least as much as I acted, now probably I direct mostly in the theater.
Հաջորդ հարցը կինոքննադատները կտան։
So for me, the best case is mamulì and Bernardini. Now I can see people like that before. And so can you see something like that, like something Spike Jones, some Coen Brothers style? Because now it's so by an American, something different. So is it interesting for you to do something like that, or now you like it as you more? Thank you.
Well, I enjoyed very much working with Anna, who I like a lot. That came about because Ingeborga Dapkunaite is an old friend of mine who I've worked with many times in theater, in fashion, in movies.
Ինչպես դուք հասկացաք, Ջոնը շատ է մտածում արվեստի մասին եւ արվեստի ասելիքի մասին եւ կարևորության մասին եւ այն ցանկությունը կա մեր մոտ արդեն իսկ եւ իհարկե առաջիկա համերից հետո կքննարկենք մեր ավանդական
Thinking about the first time will take place. We will certainly do more. We understand John as living garden as his host. Where do you plan to take him? What is he going to see? What have you planned about culture? Like the Parajan of
մի փոքր մշակութային թուստական ծրագիր է կատարվել ավանդականից, ավանդական քանդակից իհարկե հայաստանյան, բայց կարծում եմ որ շատ կարևոր է որ ունենք շատ քիչ ժամանակ, ունենք աշխատանքային շատ խիտ գրաֆիկ բայց կարծում եմ որ այն ամենակարևոր տեղը որտեղ որ ես կարծում եմ որ դերասանների եւ կարողանանք իր այցելությունների մասին մամուլը կտեսնենք որովհետեւ նախացած եւ ինչ
Sergei was a great help to us, to Ksenia and myself when we first did the piece, because of course we had constructed the piece without this orchestral element, which is not so easy to do and to incorporate. So he was a great help. And then when we went to Argentina, we also had to kind of make another piece, which was not foreseen, which he was also incredibly helpful on. So yeah, he has a great musical background and is very smart, so it's been a great help.
Օրգնեց եւ դա է աշխատել իսկապես հաճելի է, որովհետեւ երաժշտական շատ հարուստ փորձի եւ քրեատիվ անձնավորություն է։